all of you are challenged by the pandemic and the situation we find ourselves in. But I also know that everyone's trying to do their best. And I'm really excited to have us kick off our Computer Science Teachers Association year with all of you and with a great group of people from UCSD in AI for All. And I can't wait to hear their presentation. And so I'm excited about that. I'm excited to be here with you, and I'm hoping that we're going to try to do a monthly meeting. I'll talk a little bit more about that when I do a presentation, but I'm just hoping that you can encourage and help grow our networks so we can get more and more people here. So I'm going to go ahead and start. Yay, we're in San Diego. Okay, we can go to the next slide. So just as a reminder, we're really about, promoting CS Ed and curriculum in our public schools in grades K through 12, but also our community colleges and higher ed. We do have as a focal point the broadening of participation of underserved and underrepresented groups in computer science, women of color, children of color, learning differences, gender, every single group, but it's always about CS for all. And also about having equity access of our CS courses and education in this space. And we're also really about connecting our computer science teachers. Go ahead, Min. Thank you. And here's our board. We're very fortunate. We have our members here. I think every single one of us is present at the moment. A great group of people, dedicated, passionate, and committed to this endeavor. And then we go to our next slide, Min. And we want to introduce our new board members. We are really important. Yeah, we have Ruth Moss, who is our at-large representative, and she's teaching at both higher ed and also at the high school. Tasha Frankie, who's here for our higher education, and we're very fortunate to have Tasha because she's with our community college group. Is Tasha in the house, Min?
I see. Yeah, Tasha's in the house.
Tasha, why don't you say something for a minute there?
Well, I'll say hi. I don't want to delay our presentation because that's going to be exciting. But hi to everybody. I'm glad to be here, and I look forward to seeing all of you even more throughout the term via Zoom, unfortunately.
Well, thank you, and we're really excited to have Tasha because she is an awesome educator, and she's connecting us with the community colleges, and also we're hoping with the university systems within our county. And we have our elementary school rep, Jenny Chen, who was a California STEM Teacher of the Year. And I don't know if she's arrived or not, but if she has not, hopefully later after the presentation, she's going to speak of it. And Jenny's just become a principal at one of the Vista Unified, I don't want to misspeak, but it's an elementary school in the Vista Unified School Districts, if I'm not mistaken. We're really excited about having her on our board. Okay, Min. And of course, our great, amazing UC San Diego team, our partners who we would not be able to do any of this stuff. Thank you, sincerely, from all of us. Okay, next slide. So real quick, President's Report. Welcome to our first meeting. I don't know if you had the opportunity, but we had two conferences, 2020 and our virtual teaching summit. They were awesome. We got lots of stuff. We'll connect you to that on our website. We're reconnecting with all of you via monthly CSTA San Diego meetings during the pandemic. So we're going to have a meeting once a month. We're scheduling them for every third Thursday of the month. You have something you want to share with us, or you got a proposal for someone to present, let us know. We would like to know. Chapter goals. We would like to encourage everyone to become a CSTA Plus members. There's a lot of benefits to it. Yeah, it costs a little bit of money, but it really helps support these endeavors, and we do get a little bit of funding by you becoming CSTA Plus members. If you want to have more information, let us know. We'd be happy to walk you through that. We are going to work closely, we hope, with UCSD AI for all. I'm very excited about that, and future groups that participate in our space. We want to recruit more elementary school and higher ed CS people to come into these meetings. And we are about providing resources so that everybody is able to teach CS as best as they can with their kids. Don't forget, we're recording this. Okay, so that's important. No, it is a happy hour. It is adults. You're good with adult beverages, I believe, right, Min?
Yes.
Okay, and so cheers to you. I'm drinking water for right now. And let's go to the next slide. You got it, Min.
Oh yeah. So thank you for coming for today, but we will have an ongoing series of happy hour series, and we've been prolific, a prolific chapter among all the rest of the CSTA chapters. So next month we're gonna reconvene every third week of the month, and next month we're gonna share out our best practices for recruiting students to CS. Yeah, so let's keep it going, keep it moving, and every meeting is on Thursday, like the third Thursday of the month, with an exception to our CS Listen Up conference. So for those of you who don't know it, I need to change this. We're not gonna meet right there. Actually, this is the wrong one. But if you look at our Eventbrite sign up, it is going to be on November 18th. My bad. So it's going to be virtual from 4 to 6. And basically what CS Listen Up is we, Beth Simon and Susan Yonezawa wrote this NSF grant to study underrepresented groups and why they aren't taking computer science. And the really cool thing about it is it positions students as co-researchers like us, and they're finding out why their peers aren't taking computer science. And we're among, we have 4 districts gonna present, and there's gonna be 2 to 3 schools per district. And we asked the CSTA board if they would allow CSTA members to join, and y'all are welcome to join to this. So that's don't ignore the slide, my bad. This is the real date. The virtual conference will be on Wednesday, November 18th, and feel free to sign up. It's free, and I think the students will really love to hear from your take as a CS teacher. And they're going to report their findings and also their recommendations to the movers and shakers of in their district to implement whatever they find in their research. Art, Dan, and Deanna, they're one of our partners in this, so they can speak more to it. But yeah, this is basically what CS Listen Up is, and I'll update the slide next month.
It's all good, man.
Yeah.
So everybody, we hope that you will consider joining us for that date to hear our amazing students that have been doing this research project. That they started their paths to become student researchers for the National Science Foundation. So, and they're doing a really great job of data analysis. So we really, and it's all about CS education. We want them to figure out how to encourage and get more kids, their peers, to take computer science courses. So we're hoping that you'll all join us for that very, very, very special event. I know that many of the teachers on here are running these kinds of groups. Okay, now, without further ado, I am now going to present our great presenters, our AI, artificial intelligence for all. So Judy and Saura and everybody else involved in the group, you can go ahead and take it away. Thank you for being here.
Judy, would you like me to be the remote person?
Oh, sure. Or if, okay, yeah, that works. And we'll just say like next slide. Okay, awesome. Thanks so much. And thanks, Art and Min. for inviting us and letting us take part in your first meeting of the year. It's really, really great to be here with you all virtually. Seems like you've got some awesome events coming up, and like just like the breadth of your mission is just really cool. So I'm just really, really happy to be involved, and hope we can find some ways to connect and work together. Okay, so next slide. So 4 of us from our team are here. We rebranded ourselves as Pathways to AI, in part just to avoid confusion with another organization, a national organization called AI for All. And it's in part due to our focus on the San Diego County area. So we just rebranded as P2AI. Otherwise, everything else that we've told you about is the same. So I'm Judy Fan. I'm an assistant professor in the psychology department at UCSD, and my lab works on topics at the intersection of cognitive science and artificial intelligence. I'm here with 3 of my amazing colleagues, Saura Naderi, who's the K-14 outreach director at the Kalejolu Data Science Institute, with Amy Eguchi, assistant professor of computer science education at the Department of Education Studies. And then we can go to the reveal. Taylor Berg-Kirkpatrick, assistant professor in the Department of Computer Science and Engineering. And Gary Cottrell, also heavily involved in the leadership of this project, but unfortunately couldn't make it today. And other members of our group include Alex Cloninger, Jenny Desa, Ryan Saab, Gal Mishne, Ben Smar, Jing Boshang, and several others. And we represent 7 different academic units at UCSD, so we're really multidisciplinary, but what we share in common is an interest in broadening access to high quality education about computer science and AI. And these are some of the departments that we come from. So we can go to the next slide. Okay, cool. So in the next few minutes, we'll tell you a little about what we're trying to accomplish, some of our sources of inspiration in developing the ideas for Pathways to AI, what we're planning to accomplish, why we're specifically eager to connect with CSTA here in San Diego, and then some specific projects that we've been working on and opportunities that we're excited about collaborating with you on. Okay, so in a nutshell, one of the main motivations for our coming together earlier this summer is that AI is increasingly pervasive in our everyday lives. Next bullet. But unfortunately, AI today is shaped by a really narrow subset of society that doesn't actually reflect its demographic composition. And so our main mission is to broaden access to high quality education about AI in underserved communities across the county, as well as broaden participation in cutting edge AI research. And we hope that over the long term, that these efforts will help to increase the range of identities and perspectives that are represented in the science and technology workforce, as well as among tomorrow's science and technology leaders. And we really believe that doing this work will lead to better AI, better, more responsible, and more inclusive AI technology. Okay.
Right, so let me take it over. So we are really interested in inspiring the next generation of the AI researchers and computer scientists, but also AI users. And there are a lot of inspirations that we receive, but those are the 2 core groups that sort of made us kind of come together at UCSD. One is called AI for All. That's a nonprofit organization. It's funded in 2017, and then their focus is to really increase the diversity of and the inclusion in AI education, research, and development. And then their focus is really on underrepresented high school students to become more next generation of AI leaders. And then they have like online AI classes that you can use, but also they have a specific focus on providing a high school students like AI immersive camp at different higher education institutions. And the other one is called AI for K-12, and I'm also part of that group. And then it's an initiative to create or to develop a national guideline for AI education for K-12, but also creating an online curated teaching materials and resources, and to bring the community together to help the K-12 population of students to really learn what AI is. And they came up, they developed with they developed a big 5 big ideas in AI that's already out. But also we're now working on grade band learning outcomes to help support the teachers to implement AI integrated lessons in their classrooms. Next slide.
All right, so how we plan to accomplish these goals, hopefully we can facilitate collaborations between UCSD and K-12 educators to incorporate AI literacy into the curriculum. So we believe that each community is its own petri dish in how they learn, and so hopefully in working with educators, we can figure out what kind of content would be of most interest to you, and how do we design this in such a way that helps your students. We also are hoping to host a summer program for pre-collegiate students at UCSD that excite and empower them to continue learning about AI. And then the next bit is we also are hoping to develop opportunities for K-12 educators to participate in current AI research at UCSD, which we'll learn a little bit more about in a later slide.
Yeah, so the reason why we're eager to get connected with you is because we understand there are different needs, different communities or different schools or different teachers, different classrooms, students, they have their different needs. And we really want to understand the kind of needs that exist in your classroom or among your students or the families or in the community, so that we can actually learn from you. And that will help us to really provide or approach a K-12 populations in San Diego area, county area, to really connect what higher education institution can offer to K-12 community. And we are hoping that this initiative at UCSD will sort of break down the barrier between the higher education and then K-12 community, and then even the classroom and students. If you are doing some lesson, AI-related lesson, and then your students have some question, and we're hoping you can just say to your students, oh, we can get in touch with so and so, like Judy, then Judy can probably teach us something, or maybe she can help us to find out the solution. So that kind of relationship that we are hoping to develop, so that we can actually broaden the CS participation in CS and AI for the future. Next slide.
Okay, so there are a few projects that we've been cooking up over the summer that we like to share with you and hear your thoughts, questions, feedback. So the first project we've called Bites of AI, and it's a video series, like a video kind of mini series that we're developing in collaboration with Create STEM 10 Plus. And so we've been working with Beto Vasquez to align the way we develop content for that. And so we're hoping to develop some of our first episodes this fall. And then Saura will tell us more about that. RET, why not have another acronym, which is a summer research program for K through 14 teachers. And we'd be really excited to launch that starting next summer. And then looking further ahead, the sort of signature Pathways to AI summer program for high school students, maybe a couple summers down the road. That would be an immersive 3-week program that we'll tell you more about. Okay, so next slide. Okay.
So our Bites of AI series is like Judy said, we're hoping to work with Create STEM 10+ series, and it's a series about 10-minute long videos, doing a hands-on project. And if you can click on, I think if you can, Min, click on the next couple things, because they'll just pop up, and then I think that's one more. All right, awesome. So again, they're about, oh, sorry, back. Thanks. So they're short videos. The nice thing is that they're going to be available in both English and Spanish, and we're going to also have closed captioning as well. So we are ADA compliant. And then we're hoping that these videos could potentially be something that could be incorporated in the classroom. But again, that's going to be based on the feedback. We have a questionnaire later that hopefully will inform us whether or not that could be something that is doable. And then topics are going to be things like visual art, audio, brain-computer interface, language, music. So we're hoping to capture like a series of like, there's all these different videos on their site already, have like I like the way Judy said it, a season of artificial intelligence. So it's going to be a collection of AI-related hands-on projects that are going to range a target of students from, maybe 4th graders, 6th graders, up to high school students, middle school students. So that's yet to be determined, I would actually think. Next slide.
So I'll jump in here and talk about this. So this is something we're planning for next summer. The idea is to have a multi-week, maybe 6 weeks, maybe 8-week research project for teachers to come to UCSD and work with artificial intelligence labs on interdisciplinary artificial intelligence research. The goal is, to kind of connect up what's going on in research kind of earlier on, people back in K through 12 as they kind of look forward into AI, also so that they, can learn more about what's going on in kind of the very edge of our knowledge of AI. It's a very rapidly growing field, but also so that we at UCSD can kind of learn how to, present our research in ways that it's accessible to people in K through 12, et cetera. And early stages of planning this, but the theme is really going to be, as I mentioned, interdisciplinary AI. So AI applied to, not just classic machine learning problems, but AI at the kind of juncture between computer science and fields that are actually quite different than computer science. So some example projects, next slide button. Yeah, so here's a couple example projects. I'll go through 2 in a little bit more detail. So one, analyzing state-of-the-art language models. I'll talk about that a little bit more in a second. Understanding face recognition, building models of risky decision-making, uncovering the history of ancient Greek scripts, etc. So these are some example projects that various faculty members of AI have proposed, and we're kind of putting together a list. I'll just talk about 2 in more details. Next slide. So the first, this is really more of a kind of classic AI, kind of one end of the interdisciplinary spectrum. This is a subfield of AI called natural language processing. It's just applying machine learning to human language. There is this machine or model called GPT-3 that is really the first of its kind. It's been making the rounds in the press lately. You may have seen something about it or perhaps written by it, go by your, I don't know, news feed. This is a model that was trained by OpenAI on all the language data on the internet, basically. It's like, this is like, what if you give an AI system all the data? How do you do that? Well, you have to spend tens of millions of dollars on GPUs and blah, blah, blah. So like, we can't really do this in academia, but industry did it. They made this model. what's interesting about this is we've never seen a model train on this much data before. And it's interesting, scary in some ways. In fact, the creators were afraid enough of its capabilities that they haven't actually released the model to the public. If you're a research lab or if you pay some money, there's ways you can interact with it, but they're not giving people their trained model. So one of the projects we want to do is to actually gain access to GPT-3, which we can do through connection with OpenAI, and to, instead of trying to train a new model, rather try to figure out what this model actually knows about language, given that it's trained on all this data and it does all these kind of magic things. So for example, here's something you can ask the model to do. You can say, make me a new paragraph on a theme, like just write me some text the world's never seen before, you make it up. Here's an example. This is from a news article I grabbed. I am not a human, I am a robot, a thinking robot. I use only blah, 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 blah. It's like weird, but it's crazily coherent for being generated by a machine, kind of scary. So in this project, what we'd like to do is to interact with GPT-3 through language, record what we're seeing, and try to come up with some quantitative evaluation to figure out what it knows, what it doesn't know, how we might improve it, and does it have kind of issues with bias, which is kind of a growing theme in AI analysis. Like a lot of these models train on tons of data, like memorize stereotypes that live on the web and all kinds of problematic things and actually amplify them. So this is one thing we like to investigate. So working on this project, like you'd learn how to like, not train, but to actually do inference with a neural model like GPT-3. We'd learn how to like dig into the RNN behind, or the transformer behind it, and see if we can decipher a little bit about what's going on in the internals, and then get to interact with it directly. So that's kind of a classic NLP style project. Here's at the other end of the spectrum. Next slide. So this is a very much interdisciplinary project. This is actually about paleography. So there's all these mathematical techniques from computational biology that are all about, given the DNA for a bunch of modern animals, what can we say about their ancestors' DNA? Okay? Well, if you add AI into the mix so that you can not be talking directly about DNA sequences, but rather about kind of visual appearance of ancient artifacts, like these different writing systems I'm showing here. These are kind of different ways of writing symbols in really, really, really ancient Greek across kind of hundreds of years, and again, in different locations. If you use AI to kind of replace DNA, you could maybe use those same techniques to ask questions like, well, what did Greek script look like in the 3rd century BC? Maybe we don't have artifacts from then, so we don't know what Greek actually looked like. Well, you could use these techniques to try to reconstruct what Greek looked like and maybe analyze relationships between artifacts. So this is AKA Jurassic Park for language, is sort of the way that I try to motivate this. And so here, you would be learning to train some small neural nets to kind of process these images, and then also learning about comp biotechniques, but also learning about paleography and how kind of AI applies much more broadly than just the kind of classic like image classification or whatever task. It really can touch a lot of different fields. So I'll stop there. But those are kind of 2 endpoint projects, trying to drum up excitement, also gauge interest, and get feedback. So any comments you folks have would be immensely helpful.
And I'm going to say a little bit about ideas for a summer program for high school students. So this is an image taken from AI for All, which is associated with that specific organization. And this is from an example program that's hosted by Princeton University. And we've taken a lot of inspiration from how they make their program effective. And we'd really like to port that into our own version of it at UCSD. Right, so next slide. Okay, so we roll through these bullet points. Yeah, so our goals are threefold. We want to provide an opportunity for students to learn about AI in a supportive, community-oriented setting. And we want students to come away having both acquired skills, so foundational computational skills. They may that they're translating maybe from their classes with you, and also build up scientific literacy to think critically about AI research and maybe sometimes sensationalized reports about advances in machine learning and artificial intelligence to really equip them to be able to distinguish between, you know, major advances and some that are maybe hyped up, but may not be as substantial in advance. And so sort of starting to equip them with those skills in that program, and also maintain an active alumni network. So long after the summer in which they would participate in this program, they would be connected both to other members of their cohort as well as students participating in different years, their mentors from that summer, as a way of helping them access work and internship opportunities in the future. And some of the activities that we're envisioning, including as part of this P2AI summer program, include hands-on lab activities that are guided by faculty, postdocs, and grad students at UCSD in computing areas, as well as, next bullet, please, small group discussions about really important topics, including ethical issues introduced by the use of these algorithms, about current trends in AI research, as well as, there's just one more, you know, social events and opportunities to connect with their mentors in a more relaxed setting. And we think that this could be really great. This kind of immersive program may help to, you know, lay the foundation for, you know, to give these students confidence to continue to seek out more information, learn about AI, and by knowing some familiar faces who are local to the San Diego community, right here in San Diego at UCSD, that they'll be, you know, better positioned to be able to, you know, stay on that trajectory. And yeah, 10 years from now, you know, be in a great position to take advantage of, you know, the sort of changing demands in the workplace, as well as become like tomorrow's technology leaders. Even if, you know, today's technology leaders don't yet look like them, they could and they should. So really hope that this this kind of program can make a difference. It's by focusing on a small group at a time. So that's what we have. Thank you so much for your attention. Oh, sorry, no, this is Saura's slide.
Oh no, it's all good.
No. This is...
Thank you everyone for, you know, for your attention, and also the faculty at UCSD. I think one of the coolest things about this initiative is how many different researchers there are from different units that want to make a difference. And we don't want to just bombard community members like, look at what we've done. It's more like, actually, we have all these things that we want to create, but we need your help. We want to make sure you actually want some of this stuff. So as we create these videos and the kinds of hands-on activities that these high school students do, and the opportunities for teachers to come on campus, we would love to share oh, awesome. Thank you, Amy. We have a little like survey that we created as a first step to see, you know, to hear from you about, you know, what kind of areas are there more needs for us to maybe support in. And so we would love to hear your feedback. We made the initial questions of your name and email optional. So if you want to anonymously give us feedback, by all means, that's awesome. And if you want to share needs permissions to be downgraded. Oh, is the permission only?
Yeah, it says this form can only be viewed by users in the owner's organization.
Okay. Let me try to see if I can change that.
Yeah,
So
there's a box that you unclick.
Yeah, sorry. Okay, I just changed it, so hopefully that works now. So again, your feedback, if you want to give us your name and be on a list so we can keep in contact with you, awesome. If you just want to give us feedback, and not tell us who you are, awesome. And if you don't want to fill it out altogether, awesome. We really appreciate the time you already gave us. So.
And you just want San Diego educators to fill us out because sometimes our reach is like national.
I think San Diego for now.
Okay.
Yeah.
But Dina, you can do it too. She's just up the road.
Okay.
She's in San Clemente. So we get people, from all over the place sometimes. But we know that the focus is here. But Dina's super cool.
I think anybody in driving the distance is fine. If we have to fly, that's going to be amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh my God.
Jason from CSTA National is here.
Yeah. Hey, Jason. This is pretty cool. Yeah, I think he's pretty amazed.
Yeah, I caught the tail end of that, and it's incredible. I can't wait to see the recording and catch the beginning.
Yeah. We got some really cool peeps. San Diego County wanting to help kids out, and I'm like, sign me up. You guys are so amazing. Thank you.
Stefan has a question.
This is awesome. Who?
Hey, it's me.
Oh, hi, Stefan.
So Stephen, right? So
Stephen, sorry.
That's okay. I just want to make sure we didn't start something. I didn't want to change my name. So I got like 30 questions. So we're going to 9, right?
Yeah, let's do it.
I think this question, it needs a background. I'm in a small school, so I'm kind of, not necessarily for you, but maybe for the other educators. How do you see this fitting into the overall courses we're teaching? Because I don't know where to put this in.
Where to put some of the content?
Yeah. Can I answer? So the part of, and this is something we have to do at UCSD, but part of the effort at AI for K-12 initiative to create a sort of like a standard AI teaching standard, but also we're also thinking of cross-mapping with other standards like math, science, maybe computer science, so that it can, so instead of thinking about, okay, I have to teach AI, it's more like integrate AI concept into the existing lesson or existing unit, so that you don't have to recreate something new, but sort of put it into what do you do. Does it answer your question?
It certainly answers the question. It's just not how my high school works. I can't get my math teachers to put basic computer science in their math class. And I see some nods around the room. So my suggestion to you is look at how you're doing the diverse things and sneak it in as psychology or something else besides computer science, because
I hope that the survey captures that, because I think that's the intent, is like maybe it's a subject matter that the teacher expresses that they need support in, and that hopefully the content we create could help them with their primary kind of subject that they're wanting support in, and then this AI stuff is more of like a secondary themed, kind of on the background, but it's still a bit of an exposure. So
yeah, because I could see us getting it in a biology elective or something like that, whereas I can't get another computer science elective in.
Yeah, but also depend. So there are 5 big ideas, and one of the big ideas is about social impact, and then that could fit into, it could be English, it could be social science, social studies. So we're trying to come up with a creative way to fit AI concept into the existing subject. So we are not talking about slice it into CS per se, but all the subjects that you are teaching at school.
Okay, and so go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. I was just going to say, so could some of these be, it wouldn't be like a whole curriculum, it could be like one-off lessons that would embed into whatever that piece that we're talking about. So then that way we're just kind of almost like leaving like breadcrumbs to try and get students or teachers interested in maybe going further.
Yeah. So it could be like one small activity, or it could be unplugged or plugged. There's all different ways to actually do it. Now, we're not talking about big research that we are just presented, but that's the beginning. And then we want to make sure that there's a way to fit that. So instead of, we're not talking about bringing AI research to classrooms, but instead, to get to the point. So the question is to get to the point, what our students, elementary school students, maybe fifth graders or sixth graders, seventh graders, ninth graders, what do they need to know by then so that it will build up so that they can actually get to this point if they want to get into that field, right? So that's what we're trying to figure out. And then I think we need your help too, as a teacher teaching in classroom so that we can learn from you. And then also the AI researchers and computer scientists and all those people who are actually using AI in their own field, like Judy is in psychology. She's not an AI researcher per se, but she uses AI in psychology, right? So those are the things that we want the students to really understand. AI is a tool. It's not the thing that you do. It's a tool of the future, something that they need to understand so that they can be better informed citizen of the future. So that's why we're like trying to bring it down to K-12 education.
So I think as I think from my understanding is you're really like connecting with us because what you're doing in AI really lends itself to computer science courses. And I think you're starting like small so that you can check it out, figure it out, and then expand and maybe get bigger and bigger. So I know that what you're doing will lend itself really well to any CS course that we're teaching, I think. But if you want us to, and I can't speak for everybody in this group, but I know that I, as the one person, can distribute the survey to all out my district if you want me to do that. I don't mind, and I know Mark can do the same sort of thing. And I would suggest that everybody in our group here, you want to send out the survey and the idea of what AI for All at UCSD is trying to do. And I would just say, we got this great group that's really interested in doing this for us.
I have a question too. So it's not necessarily it doesn't just have to be, I mean, you're delivering this message to us as computer science teachers because this is our forum here. But like I teach at a small magnet school that is a science school. So we're a science technology school. And my biotech teacher would be so into this with me, like something that we could collaborate together. So, because I can see, because we have a biomedical innovations class. So that BI class with AI, with my computer, and they've already science with me. So I can see this as like a really cool building that we would work together in. So that kind of cross-curricular piece.
I think that's awesome.
Okay.
I would chime in the same way as Corianne just did, in that I love the fact that what you presented today, you showed all of these different disciplinary fields that are all working on the project together. And that in and of itself is a very powerful message to high school teachers as well as high school administration. I personally am a huge anti-siloist. I want math teachers and computer science teachers and biology teachers and language teachers and everybody working together on stuff, or at least thought partnering on how we can work together in a common direction. So that's a perspective that I have that I think this fits into very well. And I'm excited about it. I'm looking forward to filling out the survey and seeing how things continue forward.
Thank you so much for your comments. And I think to give you some concrete examples, so the first 3 episodes we're thinking of developing for the Bites of AI series is one focused on the intersection of visual art and AI, one on brain-computer interfaces. So visual art, like, that's where maybe the visual arts department at your school may want to have something to say, right? So I think that there can be an attitude where, you know, an engineer thinks that they've solved style or explained what visual style is, and you know, that's having a really like nuanced conversation about that classroom could be really cool and really exciting, engaging for students. We have one on brain-computer interfaces, and that could really find a good home in a biology classroom too, right? Like like in a unit on neuroscience or the brain. There's just like a quick screen grab from Jenny Desa, you know, who will be developing that episode, talking about how optical illusions can really inform theories of neural function, theories of how the brain works, by trying to understand how humans perceive the visual world. You know, in a unit on audio and music generation, again, there are a lot of opportunities just in like, it's hard to think of any of the topics that we have lined up for the fall not somehow involving some kind of thought partnership with another discipline. And that's like clearly represented in like the diversity of perspectives in our team, but also just in like the content we'll be developing is definitely gonna be computer science in like principles applied to a huge array of different disciplines and domains. And so I think that'll become obvious in the next few weeks and months, and really hoping like if you can see connections at your schools with colleagues and like this being an excuse to collaborate on something so that, you know, we can, you know, provide raw material that would be more useful to you, like resources or materials that be actually useful for those activities, let us know, because we'd be excited to know about what those connections are that you can intuit and wanna you know, build on.
I just think the examples you gave us today, like imagine a kid that's never seen a 3,000-year-old Greek language. And, you know, I mean that's pretty amazing, you know. And then the connections of how you're proceeding in robotics in AI, you know, and the psychological implication. I mean, to me, it's endless. The fact that Min has the Matrix behind her really scares me, though. But
GPT-3.
Yeah,
but
really
yeah, so I just want to throw this open because I don't want to. Does anybody have any other questions or thoughts they want to share out, like how this could connect to like the current classes you teach, computer science principles, maybe APCSA? It'd be great, or whatever you think. Can anybody want to chime in?
I know we have a question from Michelle Gray.
She's right there.
Yes.
I'm right here. I just wanted her to elaborate just a bit, Judith, on your connection that you were making with visual arts. We have a very extensive digital design program, and I'm wondering, and then we're about to start some classes, kind of real introductory classes on IA. And so what is that collaboration? Because I'm still kind of green with the whole conversation. What does that look like?
Yeah, so I want to give a shout out to my colleague Gal Mishneh from the Data Science Institute, and we've been, you know, thinking about both how algorithms can be part of an artist's workflow to augment human creativity, and thinking of that as a kind of place where there's a lot of like growth and interest, you know, right now. Computational creativity. What does it mean for like a machine to be creative? And you know, the bite-sized piece that we're working on right now is, you know, if we take a really simple medium, so just like a blank canvas and like a pencil, and you know, just try to, like, say we're just playing Pictionary and making a simple sketch of like a I don't know, like a spaceship or something.
Okay,
I don't know,
yeah,
something.
okay.
Yeah, you know, these are you know, this is an activity that basically everyone can engage in, that like children can, you know, produce these drawings, and like even if you're not like a trained visual artist, you can basically play Pictionary and make really compelling drawings that are meaningful to other people. And we're hoping to use Google Quick Draw, which is a database of a really large number of these kind of informal quick sketches, largely made by non-artists, non-experts, and exploring how a neural network model goes by the name of Sketch RNN, because it represents drawings as a sequence of pen movements across the page, how it learns to create drawings that are meaningful to us. Basically, by learning from a really large data set of human created content, it can learn concepts like what makes a cool, what do humans think a cool spaceship looks like, or like a drawing of a tree or a trumpet or anything else.
Page layout, really. Learning the page layout so that it's designed visually attractive, and they just kind of learn, you don't want it over here, you always, and coloring connections, interesting, okay.
Yeah, and what it gets right as well as what it gets wrong is interesting and worth understanding. And some of the ideas, some of the kind of application opportunities involve, what if we partnered with algorithms like Sketch RNN when trying to develop, embarking on some new creative project. What if we took turns, placing a stroke on the page? Like under what circumstances could a person and an artificial agent really collaborate effectively to create new visual content that's like interesting and engaging? And so that's an example of something that we're playing with that might be of interest.
Interesting.
I just shared the Google Quick Draws link, so you can actually play with it.
Okay.
On the computer.
Thank you. Thank you. Very fascinating. Absolutely fascinating. Thank you. Very impressive, you guys.
I now want to become an AI scientist when I retire.
You already are. You just take the artificial part out. That's all.
Yeah. Anybody else have any questions, comments they want to share out? Go ahead, Stephen.
I wanted to move on to a new area. So I learned this past summer that my summers are a wreck. And so I was interested in the summer program for teachers, but I just can't see it happening in the summer. Again, I may be unique because of the school I teach at, but I wonder if that's something that, and I realize you have to kind of limit yourself to the grant, but something to consider in the future is
Sorry, I missed the first sentence.
My summers are a mess, so I couldn't participate in summer programs. So
yeah, we had worried about that too. We're gonna think about it and look into it, because you're right. This is part of a, like, to fund that, we're submitting an NSF RET grant. We have to look into like what their constraints are. It seems sort of weird if they can. I don't know. We'll look into that. But that's a really good point. I'm sure that's true for a lot of people.
Right. What's a better time frame?
Yeah.
What would a better time frame be?
Thanksgiving week. Oh, really? Maybe Tuesday, Thanksgiving week. Yeah. I don't know for sure, but not the spring, right? Obviously, because we have APs. So it's probably the fall. That's for me. That's the most.
I think there could be there could be different formats for a research experience for teachers, but this one specifically is a 6-week immersive program on campus, paid with a stipend as well. So I guess for teachers that don't have their summers filled up, it's an opportunity to, learn in that regard. But I think it is a good point in terms of like providing that opportunity for people whose summers are filled up. How do we provide that opportunity throughout the academic year as well?
Right. Because I think we can look at different, there are all different opportunities, grant opportunities out there, especially because when, there are a lot of grants that focusing on AI, teaching AI for younger students. So is it better if it's like weekend, like multiple weekends or multiple evenings, or what's the better format? So that's the kind of thing that we want to know so that we can sort of
I think there's a
curate
lot
the
to be.
way.
I think
Yeah, go
there's a
ahead.
lot to be said for the virtual space now, and that you can create a platform like in one of these learning management systems and try to figure out maybe opportunities of doing it virtually.
And asynchronously.
Yeah, there
Yeah,
there
that's really
Having
interesting.
asynchronous
Right.
experience
So
allows a lot of people.
right. So one thing that I personally I felt the need there out there for the teachers to teach AI is to actually teach teachers what AI is about and then what actually needs to be able to understand AI. So I know like one of the Japanese institutions, I'm Japanese by the way, have a group of people creating a course for teachers to learn AI. And then that could, if that's online and that could be asynchronous, is that something that you could be
And if that
participate
is
in or
designed, if that is
interested in?
designed for teachers of every discipline, not just computer
Right.
science. So there's
No.
experiences
Right.
in that for
Yeah.
the art teacher, for the science
Right.
teacher, for the economics
Right.
teacher, right?
Right.
I think that that would be something that more people would find useful.
Okay. Thank you.
Makes sense.
I think you have a lot of opportunity to think of a lot of ways of doing this, but I think immersive too is kind of really fun. If you have the bandwidth, if you see Steven's right, sometimes it's challenging, but if you make a call out, maybe there's room to do different things. But I think that as you go forward, you can also create surveys and ask teachers and figure out, okay, what would fit your scheduling conflicts and stuff. Would you be able to do this? That might help out too. You know, but I'm gonna honor our time. We come to the end. It's 6 o'clock now, and I just want you to know that I think everybody here is in. Everybody wants
You
to.
guys are awesome.
I don't think there's a single teacher in this space that does not want to be not involved. So
I just texted my biology teacher and said, I
yeah,
think I might have volunteered you for something. Oh.
yeah, and I'm gonna meet with my district curriculum and structure executive director, and we have TOSA's teachers on special assignments. I'm gonna ask them if you guys could come in and do a quick meeting and just if you could do it like briefly, like 10-15 minutes, you're going to make a huge impact, and it's a reach out thing, and I think it'll be really great. But I think that's about it. I just, everybody, let's thank you.
Thank you. Thank
You
you for
guys,
having us.
Thank
guys,
You
you.
guys are
Thank you so much.
awesome.
no, you guys are awesome. The fact that
No,
you guys,
you are.
you guys are more awesome. No, you want to reach out, and you're thinking about equity access. You're thinking about underserved, underrepresented groups. You want to reach out to all kids. It doesn't get better than that. And thank you very much. And so hopefully we'll stay connected. I hope everybody will like to stay connected. I think that's really important. Okay, well, we have our next meeting scheduled in October. Hope you guys are invited. Everyone here is invited. It's open forum, and please let us know if you have ideas of what you would like to see presented, and also things that you can think might be good presenters as well. And don't forget CS Listen. What's the date, Min?
Wednesday, November 18th, 4 to 6.
4 to 6. Okay. All right. Well, thank you very much, everybody. Really appreciate everybody being here. It's great to see everyone again. Hoping everyone has a great year, and in spite of the challenges of the pandemic, and hopefully everyone will do it. Stay in touch.
Thank you.
Peace out.
Thank
Jason,
you.
great to see
Take
you.
care.
Thank you.
I'll share out everything on Monday.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll send you the blurb.
Okay, the blurb. Okay.
Okay.
Cool.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thanks, man. Thanks,
Yeah,
Art.
we'll share this, Judy. Thank you, Corianne.
Thank you.
Yeah, Amy,
Yeah.
thank you.
We can even take off we can put the CSTA label in parentheses if they want to share it with other colleagues who aren't teaching computer science, we didn't even dream of that possibility, basically, right? It was just like, we thought like, okay, let's start small, scope it carefully. But as soon as, someone raised it like, hey, I think there are other people in my school who'd want to be involved, like, that's awesome. Of course, we want that too. We just want to,
Yeah, we got a lot of ways of connecting.
That's great.
Mark is the coordinator for San Diego County Office of Education.
Oh yeah.
And so he's someone that has a lot of reach in San Diego. I do as well, and so we'll be happy to help you.
That's great. Thank you again. Thank you again.
Thank you. Great to
Take
see
care.
you.
Great to see you.
Bye. Bye. Hey Trevor. Hey Tara.
Have a good evening, everyone.
Yeah, have a good night, Art. Thanks for everything, buddy.
Hi, Art. See you later.
Wasn't that cool? That was cool.
That was
pretty It's great to see you,
buddy. I'll see you.
Bye. Min, when are they going to do Matrix 4?
Huh? Soon. They're filming it.
Matrix 4, the movie? Really?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
Those were my favorite movies for a while.
Yeah, one of my side projects is to code my own background. There's a way to do it.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Have it say different things like CSTA or create or whatever.
CS for all. All right, man. Thank you so much.
See you, Art.
Bye-bye.